You have our back.
Have your
Yep.
Oh. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Rebecca. So good to have Rebecca back with us again. It's been a few days, been a day or two. Welcome to Woodland Chapel, Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Moore Horton, and I'm here to make you feel like you just stepped into the most wonderful place in the world, because it is. A center of love, a center of faith, a center of giving, a center of teamwork. We all work together to produce what we have here this morning. We have a few announcements this morning. Is anyone here for the first time? I don't see anyone. Okay. Soup for the Soul fundraiser is, I think, next Sunday. Is that correct? Oh, is it today? Wow. Wonderful. Beyond Limits is a class is starting September 17th. Our instructor is Cheryl Guest, a religious science practitioner. World Peace Day this Saturday, September 21st at 11. I believe we're going to have participation by the Baha'i group who will be with us to some extent. Yeah, isn't that nice? And we may be asked to be on their event at 3 o'clock the same day. So we want to, you're invited to join the book club, which we are discussing, Dances with Dogs by Reverend Bonnie Rose. It is humorous and informative. Let's see. Look in the library to see what's happening in the chapel. Child care is available here this morning. Confidential prayer request forms are in the pews. We do pay attention to those and make sure they get to a practitioner to be prayed on throughout the week. If you feel called to be of service, you might like to be in our next garden party, for example. Please let us know. Science and Mind magazine is on sale. Is there anything else by way of announcements that we need? No? Then let us go into our congregational song, which I believe is down in my soul, and you might like to stand to sing this.
music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. Together, and the whole wide world is my home. I hear the music down in my soul. Yes, I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I've got a new day down in my soul. Yes, I've got a new day, oh yeah, down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. And I love the silence, oh, down in my soul. Yes, I love that silence, oh, down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. And I feel that power, it's down in my soul. Oh, I feel that power of love down in my soul. I feel the power, it's down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. Yes, the whole wide world is my home.
Now it's time for a moment of quiet. Rebecca will play us in, and then we'll have our good friend Donna, our practitioner, lead us in prayer.
Good morning, friends. Please join me in going within. Know with me there is one infinite intelligence, one energy, one mind, and this mind is my mind now. It works in, as, and through me, and what I know to be true for myself, I know to be true for everyone, everywhere. It is crucial to see beyond what the world is showing me. I choose kindness and start with myself. I lift my vibration to be the change I want to see. In this moment and every moment, I embrace the goodness of life, knowing I am a conduit through which the good of the divine flows. For this, I am truly grateful. I release these words to the law and let go. please join me in saying, and so it is. So now we have a group affirmation. Please open your bulletin and say with me, I align myself with the infinite intelligence. I feel harmony, I feel peace, and I experience fulfillment with ease and grace, and so it is.
I am spirit, I am peace. I can feel the joy of release. Let my body go, let my thoughts gently flow. I am one with all. Sing along, please. I am spirit, I am peace. I can feel the joy. I can feel the joy of release. Release. Let my body go. Let my body go. Let my thoughts gently flow. I am one with all. One more time. I am spirit, I am peace. I can feel the joy of release. Let my body go, let my thoughts gently flow. I am one with all.
Now, Catherine Kim will present a reading from the Science of Mind.
Good morning. Deepak Chopra says, effortless action is the key to success and fulfillment, for the universe responds to our inner alignment with grace and ease. Ernest Holmes says, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it, or she thinks into it, or they think into it. In the grand tapestry of his existence, where every thread and color contribute to the magnificent whole, there is a profound wisdom in the simplicity of effort. Chopra's law of least effort teaches us that when we align with the natural flow of life, we discover a path of least resistance. This principle, so elegantly woven into the fabric of our being, invites us to embrace the power of non-resistance and effortless action. In practicing the law of least effort, we become co-creators with the universe. We release the need to control every outcome and instead allow ourselves to be guided by intuition and inner wisdom. As we do this, we find that our efforts become more effective and our goals more easily achieved. We learn to trust in the divine rhythm of our existence, recognizing that when we let go of unnecessary strain, the universe responds with abundant support. Ernest Holmes reminds us that life is indeed a mirror of reflecting our inner thoughts. When we embrace the principle of least effort, we shift our internal landscape to one of trust and flow. We release resistance and invite harmony into our lives. This shift is not about inaction, but about acting in alignment with our highest self in a way that feels natural and effortless. As we move forward, let us remember that effort does not always equate to struggle. True power lies in our ability to flow with life's natural rhythms, to act with ease and confidence, and to trust in the process of our unfolding. By embracing the law of least effort, we open ourselves to a world of limitless possibilities and harmonious outcomes. Our bonus affirmation for today: I am in harmony with the natural flow of life. I release resistance and trust in the effortless unfolding of my journey. As I align with the flow of the universe, I embrace ease and grace in all that I do. Thank you. And now we'll have Reverend Don.
Now we've come to the highlight of the morning. Reverend Don Kerr will present his inspiring sermon that's going to make your spirits just rejoice. So please welcome him, Reverend Don Kerr.
I guess he wants to. We'll have a song. Okay. We like music.
We're good. We're ready.
What I said.
Yeah. You didn't read the memo. Just kidding. Okay, Rebecca. We got this.
That's kind of low. One more time. False start. False start.
Okay, let's have a song.
I have an attitude of gratitude. I'm giving thanks each day for all the little, big, and in between, the highs and lows, and what is yet to be. I choose an attitude of gratitude, for I would rather see the spark of love and light in everything, 'cause what I curse just keeps on lingering. When there is much I'm grateful for, my heart begins to feel much lighter, and there are just so many things that seem to open up my heart and make it sing. Choosing an attitude of gratitude was a bit challenging. I had to learn to stop complaining and begin to see the beauty all around me. I found my attitude of gratitude is where my joy begins. 'Cause whether I lose or whether I may win, my happiness is still a choice from within. And there is much I'm grateful for, and my heart feels so much lighter. And what once used to bring me down no longer seems to me making my heart frown. I like this attitude of gratitude. It keeps my mind and heart worry-free. Some say I seem to be a brighter me since I found light is never out of sight. No matter how bad things may seem, my attitude of gratitude has set my heart free. And now there's so many happy possibilities, happy possibilities for you and me.
And so we've had our bonus song, and now we have our speaker.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, musicians, whatever. You know, it's so great to have music, isn't it? Something about it. You know, Jeff walked in this morning and he said, we're going to pack up the babies and grab the old ladies, and everyone goes to the Reverend Don's Salvation Show. I said, thank you. Okay. Hey, what a good October Sunday morning, right? Good. It is a good October. Wow, that was a lot of feedback. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. We are still excavating Deepak Chopra's book that's titled The 7 Laws of Successful Living. Successful living, wow. You know, last Sunday, Reverend Judy, I just loved her talk, her message. She opened her heart song, I think, up when she was sharing the faith that she has in all of us having purpose for being alive. She talked about this purpose. We have purpose for being alive. And I think I agree. All life is responding to, I think, a divine urge to be here, to figure out what is going on with why I'm here. You know, I believe there's something deep and holy in us that really seeks to try to truly live with this ease and grace. Yeah. The title of the message of this morning is supposed to be the law of least effort. Well, isn't that ease and grace? It seems to me it could be. I also think that we humans, as we've come into this life, we've come to have a co-creative privilege. A co-creative privilege. It's our gift from the Creator that we can just feel it in our bones when we just really let it overtake us. We feel it in our heart to discover and to really know what's our purpose for being alive right here and now. Why wasn't I born before now? Well, thank you ancestors, that's for sure. And this idea that there's a special law that supports the phrase of living with ease and grace, it sounds really promising. But you know what? This can be a difficult law for humans to accept as reality. Yeah. It's been, for me, over the years, over the periods of my human experiences up to now, something different than a reality of ease and grace. You see, the law of least effort was not on my radar in all my past years of growing up. Not until just a few years ago. I grew up with a great role model in my mom and my dad, who seemed to always be struggling, always be working at it to make life safe and make it happy for me and my younger brother and sister. Ours was a country life, a real country life. I mean, by farming and ranching and moving from job to job as my father did. He was a laborer. He never owned a piece of land of his own, but he worked for the other guy. He worked in the required labor-intensive caring and tending and taking care and sowing and reaping crops and, oh my gosh, birthing animals and slaughtering animals. And tractors and hay balers always seemed to need repairs, and he was good at doing that. So the phrase ease and grace, it wasn't the feeling I felt in all that kind of life or saw reflected in the activity that called on my dad to attend to those tasks. Now, he was the hardest working person I know. Now, my wife, when she taking care of children, our wonderful 3 daughters, I tell you something, she took over, and I just kind of stepped back out of the way. And she was the hardest working woman I've ever known. Anyhow, my brother once said of our dad that his employers received their pound of flesh and their buckets of sweat from my father's determination to do those tasks and do it right. And something else about this, ease and grace, huh? Well, my brother and I nodded in agreement together when we talk about the memory of what our dad left us with, what he gave us, what he taught us when we were growing up. It served us well in our lives, served me well, but we were taught what is called work ethic. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You bet. God, I tell you. Do our job. I remember, you got to do your job and do it well. And see it through no matter what's in your way, whatever's struggling you. No free lunches. No free lunches. Nothing is given. Nothing is given. All must be earned. Those are things that were into my bones. So I grew into my adulthood that way, a little bit rebelling, because I created a life for myself and to take care of my family where I didn't work for the other guy. I worked for myself. I've always been my own employer. And I know what that came from. It came from watching my father struggle as he did so well. Anyhow, so coming to this teaching of New Thought, for me, has been really a revelatory. It's been fulfilling. It's been like a revelation, increasing, and it's ever asking me to gain new, fresh understandings of what my purpose for being right here, alive right now, is all about. I tell you, time has worked on me and my outlooks and my perspectives in good ways. This law that's called the least effort is really woven, it's rich with a spiritual energy. I'm seeing this now, that it's absent of toil, it's absent of strain and effort. What Catherine was reading today, wasn't that amazing? About starting it out that way. It's just, wow. It just kind of lays out a plan, the divine plan for how we were meant to be, how we were meant to live, and gives me reason why I'm here. This idea, we kind of wax, I call it romantically. We always go back to nature. Deepak Chopra did this a lot in the book. He went back to nature, about the sweetness and the beauty of nature's examples of harmony and loveliness. And I remember my grandfather, he was a Pentecostal preacher in our family. He spoke of grace often in his Sunday go-to-meeting times, and here's how he did it. He would go to this ease and grace thing by going to Matthew always. And he read that part out of Matthew, and I'll see if I find it here. Yes, where he said, "Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow." Yeah, getting into nature here, see? "They toil not, neither do they spin. Yet I say unto you, even Solomon in all his glory could not add to this nature." So Deepak began his chapter by stating that the law of least effort it's based on the spiritual fact that nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease and abandoned carefreeness. That's the words he used. Nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease, abandoned carefreeness. And I tell you, I think that can seem strange and opposite of what our 5 human senses tell us, but what they reveal to us all the time, trying to reveal to us problems. As we experience nature and we observe nature ourselves, I think that we just we're animal forms of some. Take all the animal forms in our many environments. Now, us included, we can see struggles of many dimensions on all kinds of levels. Just to survive, just to exist as worldly inhabitants, we see a lot of struggle. For example, watching these nice nature programs on TV. We see the predator, we see the prey. We see they're supplying each other the experiences of dramatic struggles to exist, to just survive. That first sight of watching a lion take down a baby antelope. Yeah, feed itself, feed its young. Or I compare wolves, when you watch them chasing their prey. It's the dance of the wolves, weaving in and out of their formations and bringing that prey down, going for the weakest, going for the youngest, for sustenance and survival. At first glance, it portrays a dynamic struggle and effort to live off the deaths of other species. And hallelujah, in our human condition for food, slaughterhouses remain hard work. Hard work in those places. I worked in a turkey processing plant when I was 17 years old. Took me 3 years to get over that. I won't go into details. I actually became a vegetarian for 4 years. Yeah. So therefore, to blithely state that nature is only ease and least effort, I think it just paints over a lot of details we got to get to this, to get into the metaphysical moments that I see for deeper meanings about why we talk about least effort. For example, for inspiration, anytime we see a plant pushing a rock aside, pushing up between cracks in the cement to break out of the soil's darkness and seek that sunlight. Or I think that's a great example of the power that nature has to express life form and function, and the very experiences of creatures being born. Now, this is interesting too. Pushed from the safety of their mother's womb and into the world atmosphere, seeking their living identity in this process. Observing that stretches my credulousness, really. Is there such a word as credulousness? It stretches my understanding a bit about this law of least effort. I have helped sheep and cattle and a horse one time go through their birthing experiences. Ease and grace? But Deepak goes on. I'm open-minded. He goes on, he writes that if we observe nature at work, if we really observe nature at work, we can see that least effort is at work. Okay, I'm watching. And so it is, to do this, we have to see with deeper vision for the meaning of life, I guess, as I think about it. An example of nature using the law of least effort, now it comes to me. Let's take water. Comparing a river flowing, moving across the terrain on its way to the ocean. Rivers do not push water uphill, do they? No, water does not flow uphill. I think like the song says, to get corny here, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. You never say row, row your boat gently up the stream. Water flowing doesn't waste any energy struggling against obstacles or forcing its way. Instead, it flows. It flows, it fluidly moves up and over and around and through and over the dams and other obstacles. It moves with this grace that's called fluidity, I think. Yeah, I agree with that. Water in a river flows over a waterfall, allowing gravity to pull it down, no resistance, and on into its journey to the sea. There's something going on that I have to catch on to. Water fills and carries and cleans, and it moves through the natural lay of the land like it's embracing the land. This idea of a law of least effort is onto something, and we could pay attention, I think, to now about Deepak's claims. Now, he says, I like this when I read this. He said, there's something in life. You will discover it if you long enough watch for it. It's called intrinsic nature. Intrinsic nature. And the claim is seen that evolution is the intrinsic nature of all living forms as they follow paths opening up for their survival. Yeah. Now, I wondered, it's intrinsic nature for birds and all winged creatures, from a butterfly to a dragonfly. Its intrinsic nature is to fly. Haven't most of us watched a hawk circling in the sky? The other day we were going down to the wildlife reserve, and there was this turkey buzzard. Now, they're the masters of the sail. They go out, and then they just tips of the wings. It's not this. It's least effort, yeah. Circling. It's really graceful to watch hawks or that birds do that, going on the updraft, whatever it may be. A use of the law of least effort. Yeah. So, it is the intrinsic nature, let's go back to that, which can be defined as the invaluable, true, irreplaceable guiding power to be or become, to do or be done. The infinite purpose for becoming and creating, such as in our human use of this little-known law of least effort. As we open our windows of our soul to embrace life, as we do in our teachings and our philosophies that we have here, I think that we hear God calling as an example. Yeah, hear that? Isn't that sweet? It makes me want to dance. My intrinsic nature is to dance, you know. It really is. I love to dance. Now, I remember when I was younger and into playing a lot of tennis. I remember struggling and practicing, yes, over and over again, practicing my strokes against the wall. Pow! You hit that ball against the wall, that ball's going to come right back, and you got to back and forth, back and forth. But when I was out on the court, and I was focusing still on the ball, moving back to me from another person's tennis racket, there were times when I fell into a state of easy response. Yeah. I used to call it my zone. You know, the trend at that time is to call things getting into your zone. You know, that's what it was. It was as if my body had its own mind and its own movements. It was just following that ball. The reflexes were smooth, and my breath and my body were just synchronistically working in some state of movement, but it was ease and grace of responding without struggle, just in the flow, magical energy flow. Yeah. Now, Deepak in his book, he refers to an energy interruption about this energy flow. In the case of flow, of ease, it's our ego, I guess is what he's talking about. That's what the interruption comes when we're in the flow of something. It is the interruption by our ego, and he says it's because we have what is this internal reference point that we find ourselves in. I'm trying to find the points here. He says when our internal reference point is of the ego, by the ego, when we seek this power and control or seek approval, because the ego's interested in that, we're spending the energy in a wasteful way. We're not following the flow. On the tennis court, for example, I remember when I was concerned with how I looked, how I pushed to defeat my opponent, berating myself for missing my stroke, cursing at myself, instead of allowing each second of each moment to enjoy the spirit of play. Love of the game would just slip away like that with how I was feeling. It became a struggle, a competition. It was my ego focused on what others thought of my game. Yeah, how do I look out there? Now, you've heard of Don Juan. He had this book, he wrote a book called The Art of Dreaming. He says that most of our energy goes into upholding our importance. If we were capable of just losing most of that important state of mind, concern, he says two extraordinary things would happen to us. He called them extraordinary. One, he said, we would be free. We would free our energy from trying to maintain this theory we had in us of our importance. I'm the owner of this shop here. I'm the manager, as an example. And then two, he says, we would provide ourselves with something magical. We'd have enough energy, magic energy, to just readily catch the glimpse of the actual grandeur of the universe. Kind of poetic there. But I think of how we try to say something in our philosophy here. We're always talking about the universe always says yes. The universe always says yes. Well, and then we go about our world as if we have to earn every blessing. Yeah. Life's interesting. Now, I don't think I ever told you my favorite joke about pastors. Yeah, pastors, if I can find that joke about who wanted to cleanse their bad habits. Yeah, bad habits. So, yeah, I think this will be worth reading to you. I hope. Yeah. Okay, these were three pastors that knew each other well. They were from the same community, different churches, and they bonded and they became close friends. And they decided they would form their own threesome clique to tell each other their secrets for therapeutic reasons, of course. Just wash it all away and confess it all out to each other, no judgments. So at their first threesome get-together, they rented an overnight getaway room and at the coast. And after an evening dinner out, they began their secret sharing. Well, the first pastor, he said, I confess, I'm a compulsive gambler. I feel badly about it, but it's in my life and I can't seem to stop. Just a compulsiveness. The other two nodded, no judgments. The second pastor said, well, with me, it's my compulsive philandering. I can't tell you about the women in both of your congregations that I've had affairs with. I just can't help myself. No judgments. So the first two men then turned to the third pastor, and they asked, how about you, Pastor Jack? Can you share? Well, Pastor Jack was standing up putting on his coat, and then he hung his head, and avoiding eye contact as he started to go out the door, he says, I'm so sorry to tell you both this, but my problem is that I'm a compulsive gossip. Anyhow, so this law of least effort, for me, it's got to have some meat put on its bones. Yeah. And the book has three components that it lists three things that really were very helpful for me. The book set an understanding for me of kind of how this works and why it works, those two things for me. And so the first component that it came up with to talk about was a word called acceptance. Acceptance, okay? It says, when we're struggling against the moment we're in, when we're struggling against this moment, whatever situation, this moment, he said we're actually struggling against the entire universe. Why is that? Accepting this moment means that our acceptance has got to be total and complete. And he said this is important to understand. You see, we can want or wish for things in the future to be different. That's fine. But in this moment, we gotta have to accept things as they are and go from this reference point that he brought up earlier. Empower ourselves with spiritual readiness. A willing heart is a worthy heart. If we understand that we feel frustrated by a person, place, or situation, we got to remember that we're not reacting to a person, a place, or a situation, but rather we're reacting to our feelings. Yeah, about all of it. And if we can just remember, these are our feelings that rise in us. And our feelings are not someone else's or something else's responsibility. Well, but feelings are real, in the moment especially. And this brings us to this second of the three components. And at first I think it sounded a little contradictory, but only if we are responsible, he says, only if we are responsible, if we hold the responsibility. And in this context, what does responsibility mean? We're talking about, he says, that taking responsibility simply means not blaming anyone or anything else about your situation, including yourself. You got to think about that. I think this may be one of the most surprising understandings I could ever come across with this thing he's getting to. Deepak, he claims in his chapter that that word responsibility means, okay, we know some of this, it means the ability to have a creative response to the situation. And do it as it is right now. You cannot change right now. So we start with acceptance, he said. And here's a power revelation. Acceptance, it is not agreement. It is allowing the moment to fill out, to be what it is, to be. And then we be the observer, the powerful observer. We be the, instead of the reactor, we be the watcher. It's really hard, he says, for us to have faith in the truth of how acceptance, just the word acceptance, and the act of acceptance will lead to taking responsibility that will transform whatever it is in that moment to be a better situation or a thing. But he said, once we step into the power of responsibility, holding nothing to blame or shame, then we can find that every so-called upsetting problem, person, place, or thing, we can find all of these contain what are called the seeds of opportunity. An opportunity is the parent for the creation of something new, even something beautiful, so spiritually beautiful, that every so-called tormentor, every so-called tyrant will become not only a teacher, perhaps a savior. And where do we get that interpretation? Because it's only an interpretation. Where do we get that? We get it from getting real. Let's get real. Let me tell you what we mean by getting real. It's that reality is all about an interpretation. Just understand that. And if we choose to interpret reality in a way that sees life as more than just a series of hard knocks, but more maybe as a great university of beautiful campuses and universal classes that open their doors to our evolving, to our expanding, to our understanding, and then develops a realization. It's almost like 5 steps here. And developing a realization that whenever confronted by a tyrant or a tormentor, a teacher, a friend or a foe, F-O-E, okay, they all mean the same thing. They all mean the same thing. And just remind ourselves, this moment is as it should be. This moment has got to be this way. And what do I do with this moment? Creates exactly what will my future moments be. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. So here's the deal. 2 words, defensive, he uses, and defenselessness. Defending our points of view. We do it all the time, don't we? This is the last suggestion I'm going to give you here. It's, he says, I know we can say we're all just human. We make mistakes, yeah. But if only we could just relinquish our ego need to always defend our points of view, really. Now, Deepak in that book claims that if we simply observe people, just try this, around us, including ourselves, put ourselves right into the mix there, you'll find that 90+% of our time is spent promoting and defending our points of view. That's what conversation goes around and goes around and goes around. We spend a lot of emotional fuss and worry about how we're viewed by others in our world. We don't like to be wrong. But when we become defensive or using blame or shame, and we resist in the moment he's talking about, instead of surrendering to the moment as it is, be the observer, be the watcher, then our life encounters resistance continually. If you continue resisting, it encounters resistance. And anytime we encounter resistance, he wraps it up here, and we seem to want to stand like this tall oak, this strong oak tree that can crack and collapse in the storm. What would serve us and our world better if most of the time, if we would just be flexible. like a willow or the reeds on a riverbank that bends with the storm and survives, to see more sunrises and sunsets. So the question can be asked of ourselves very simply in wrapping this part up. Do we want to end up as firewood, or do we want to be able to see more sunsets, sunrises, and sunsets? I'm going to close with a prayer. So let's take a moment. Let us pray. I invite you all to close with me into going within. And I speak my words this morning and ask all of us to allow, to accept this moment right now, to be what it was born to be, to accept ourselves, starting with loving our bodies, these God-designed devices of spirit for directing and controlling energy. Our human bodies, our brains, our hearts, our soul today. Today I say to myself, I accept today. I accept people. I accept situations. I accept the circumstances and the events as they occur, as they happen. And this means that I will know that this moment is as it should be. This moment, the one we're experiencing right now, this moment is simply the culmination of all the moments that we have ever experienced. This moment is as it is because the entire universe is as it is. I'm not struggling against the universe. I'm open to receive divine guidance in this moment. I'm willing to cease defending my little planet mind's self-serving points of view. And I direct the ego. I am in control as spirit. It does not control me. I'm in the flow, and I begin to feel the glow, this exaltation of freeing myself from always being on guard, in constant defense of my points of view. Don't need them anymore. Ain't going to make war no more. So I allow the intimacy of my connection and my oneness with God, and I just drop my terrible burdens and all those encumbrances of resentfulness or defensiveness, the secret fearfulnesses that may always be there, hiding, waiting to jump out and pinch me. And I just become open to becoming lighthearted, be carefree, joyful, free to be who I was born to be. And finally, to see and know me, to know all of you, as the presence of God knows me and knows you, sees me as it sees itself, ever creating, ever becoming, ever being who I was born, who you were born to be. Spirit walking in form on this planet. And I give great thanks for this revelation, and that is the truth, and so it is. So pack up the babies and grab the old ladies, and everyone goes to this wonderful, wonderful place we call our spiritual home. Amen. You need a vocalist?
No, we're good.
Oh, okay.
That was awesome.
Did you know resistance is futile?
No,
You didn't know that?
I did not. Well, not till today.
Resistance is futile.
So I didn't get Bob's permission, but I chose to change a few little lyrics on a Dylan tune. Oh. And also I have a surprise lyric at the end for Don. Mama, take this badge off of me. If you know words, sing. I can't use it anymore. It's getting clear now for me to see. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door. Mama put my guns in the ground. I can't shoot them anymore. That long black cloud has left the ground. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door. Here's my verse. Drop my fears without a sound. I don't need them anymore. Life is bright and all around me. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. And now it's easy. It's easy like Sunday morning. And now it's easy. Easy like Sunday morning.
Got it. Well, we talked about accepting the moment, looking at the possibilities that's before us. Well, this is the time for an offertory. So it's a good thing to look at the moment and dig into your planned gift, if you have one, or into your pocketbook or whatever, and to bless it, and to know that the giving is part of the receiving. That life is that circulation of goodness. And let us read together our offertory affirmation as presented in the bulletin. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Not for only some, but for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Not for only some, but for everyone.
Let us pray. There's a spirit, a power, a love, a joy that permeates all of creation and all of its beautiful moments, whether we can see it immediately or it takes a bit of reflection. It's here, right now, in each one of us, and in the sharing that we give from our hearts. For this forms the love that is this community, the expression of spirit in action. I give thanks for this, and so it is. All right, let's go ahead and do our prayer of protection. If you'd like to stand, enjoy that. The light of God foretells us. The law of God unfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's join hands, sing our peace song. You might notice a slightly different wording at the end.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so much.